After extensive review of the Boise State game, it's a disappointing loss, but quite frankly, going in, I knew and our coaching staff knew we were going to need to really play well in all three phases of the game. And a couple things that I felt like were going to be really important for us to win the turnover margin, which we did not do. As a matter of fact, we were on the losing end of that. We're going to need to create some field position off of the special teams, which we did not do. Thought we played well at times defensively and well at times offensively, but you're not going to defeat a good team like that on the road by not being dominant in those areas. So a couple things after the game. Connor Kane will be lost for the year. He broke his ankle, which is disappointing. And so I think we'll be healthier this week. Tyler Hall will be back. We did not have him return kickoffs. We didn't feel like he was quite at 100%, but he'll be back. Johanna Gaffon did not play, but the indications that I've been given is it's likely that he'll play this week. And so we've got a big challenge playing New Mexico, a team that has had their way with us the last several years. Offensively, they present a major challenge, kind of a trend. They play two quarterbacks. And I had a chance to meet Jordan during the media days, really impressive young man, and know Tavaka really well, who was in his home. And those guys are both exciting players. I think their offensive line is excellent. They do a nice job in the running game, but where they have improved is their ability to throw the ball downfield. Defensively, penetrating defense, multi fronts, a lot of different pressures, and so that's going to be a challenge for us as well. We're excited about playing the game. It's homecoming. There's a lot on the line. While we were disappointed we didn't come up with a tough road win, we got an opportunity to come back this week against a good New Mexico team, and we're playing at home. So this time, any questions?
Craig, I know hopefully you get Johanna back, but you're still dangerously thin there at defensive tackle. Have you made a decision with the staff of maybe working someone else in there depth-wise or anything on that?
What we're going to do, we'll double train Ravante and Javari. Those two guys will be out there. And we may take a look at Dalton Fields, a guy who's played some defensive tackle in the past to provide us some depth.
Coach, obviously last year some defensive struggles against New Mexico.
Oh, that's an understatement.
Kind of a game plan overhaul, or what has to change this year?
Well, it's significant overhaul. I think we got really. We had a good plan coming in, but we certainly didn't execute the plan, and that comes down to experience and execution of our players. Every year is a new year. We spent a lot of time this summer. That was a game that was an Achilles heel for us, and so we've worked really hard with that. But it'll be interesting as during the course of this week to see how that game plan gets implemented.
Coach. To get healthier on offense with Caden Jackson, Ryan Cummings back, and then you lose Connor Kane on defense. How big of a blow is that for the defense?
Well, it's a big blow. We, as Robert was saying, we're thin at that spot anyhow. But what you find, they lost a couple players too. You get to this time of year and injuries occur, and the team that is resourceful and has enough depth are the ones that rise to the top, and that's what's so exciting about the Mountain West Conference, particularly this side of the conference, and how people handle adversity. It's disappointing to lose Connor, there's no doubt. It was great to see Caden back and having, what was interesting though was Ryan was out there. He was getting IV'd. He'd come down with strep throat while we were on the plane, and so you just deal with stuff.
Coach, with obviously playing a team in Boise that uses multiple quarterbacks, can that help at all when preparing for another team that does that?
Well, there's some advantages to it because it does change your mindset as a defensive coordinator. Coach Hazelton and I have talked about those issues quite a bit. And after a while, I want to say you get somewhat adapted. First of all, you see if there's a departure in styles that offenses have. We thought Boise really, credit to them. I thought they really did a great job integrating their quarterbacks at the right time, and that really stressed our defense. And I think Coach Davey and Coach DeBess, I know Bob real well, they're doing a nice job with those two quarterbacks as well.
You talked about their option offense, and it's different than Air Force's and everything.
Right.
But what are they doing anything different this year? And obviously, discipline's a big part of defending that. But what makes that offense so tricky to defend, and what are some of the biggest keys in your mind of trying to slow it down?
Well, I think the biggest thing, and a lot of it does not get stated very much, their offensive line is an excellent offensive line. And I know we talked about their skill players, but I think they've really made strides with their offensive line, and they had a good offensive line last year. So they established the line of scrimmage, and they create some seams in there, and that allows those running backs to get going. What is probably different this year as opposed to last year is their ability to throw. I mean, they were really one-dimensional last year, and you're seeing their ability to throw more so this year. They came back against Colorado State and really had a heck of an opportunity to win the game, and it wasn't so much what they were doing on the ground, it was through the air, and so that's going to stress us as well. And so their ability at wide receiver, the skill position, and then once again their offensive line, they're averaging over 400 some yards total offense, and so they're a prolific offense.
If you talk about running backs, you mentioned last week, Trey's been getting the lion's share, and guys like Milo and Kellen and even Nico, maybe thought their roles would be different, but they've changed. How have you seen that, them kind of adapt to that and take on some maybe new roles or different roles that maybe once thought at the start of the season?
Every year is a unique year, and as you find your football team, and everybody finds their defined roles, we're in the back half of the season because we are kind of who we are now. We appreciated Kellen and Milo and the role that they've come in because they really were featured backs. Trey has stepped in and taken the lion's share of their runs. There's some things that he's done that are good, but he's got to improve. And so we appreciate those other guys and what they're doing because they're all contributing in some manner. Milo had a couple of really nice kickoff returns, and certainly Nico's been in critical times of the game, and Kellen has as well. So we've got a lot of different guys, and I think it's an indication we have an unselfish football team, and that's going to be important as we move forward.
You just said you wanted Trey Woods to improve. How does he continue to improve? I mean, going up against that solid front seven who you knew in Boise State was going to be pretty disruptive. Right. You just kind of keep putting him in there and.
Well, some of it starts up front. Some of it's coming down to his keys and how he sees a play unfold, whether it's certain runs, and that comes with experience. I thought he moved the pile better. We dented the line of scrimmage a little bit, but it needs to be more this week. There's a couple runs that we think were out there that he missed, and some of that just comes in with experience. And he does have ability, and he is strong. He is young, but he does have ability, and we're going to keep on feeding him the football.
Coach, will it help, kind of bounce back for a loss, just getting to be back at home? And I guess during that two-game road stretch, do you think, the team kind of showed signs of improvement maybe compared to last year playing on the road?
I do. There were two tough road tests, and you look at Boise State, their home record is pretty phenomenal. So that was going to be an uphill reach. I can tell you our expectations as players and coaches. Our expectation was to win the game, and there were a lot of disappointed guys in the locker room. Not so much disappointed, but disappointed we didn't come away with the win. And so that combined with the win against Utah State, I think really helped mature our football team. It's going to be great to be at home. I don't know, it seems like forever since we've played at home. It'll be a homecoming game. We're in hopes we have a good crowd here, and it'll be great to be back. But we need to take another step forward. What you find in the Mountain West, I believe, is the amount of parity. That's what makes our league so exciting. And so we've got to come up with a win. I'm sure New Mexico's looking at the same way also. They need to come up with a win.
Greg, with the guys that have been out, Sid and Adam and even Shiloh, are they still out? Or is
They're still out. No, there's no chance on any of those guys. We're in hopes that we get Adam back next week. That's what we were told this morning. Shiloh, we're still going through protocol. He's still got a couple symptoms. They're being, and I think real prudent. I mean, they're being conservative to make sure that he's cleared before he steps on the field. Sid will be out. It'll be the very, very end before we get him back.
Craig, 7 games in, where do you feel your offense is right now?
I think we're trying to find some identity. They're certainly competing. I think Josh, the last couple games, has really come out and been a warrior out there and competing. We need some other playmakers to come into play. You just can't be a quarterback-driven offense. Certainly that's important, but we're trying to find our way. Last year, I think if everybody said Wyoming, wow, they're going to be balanced, they're going to run A-gap power, they're going to be able to stretch the field and have a great play-action passing game. That's not the case, and our statistics, I think, that bear that out. Statistically, we're not doing well. We are taking care of the football pretty well. However, last week we had 2 turnovers, and we can't do that. But I think we're trying to find our way, and this will be a step forward for us to find our way.
Do you feel that in the last 5 games you can find your identity, your way with this?
Yeah, we certainly do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important. We've had somewhat musical chairs at the offensive line, and anytime you're disjointed like that, that poses a challenge. We will have all those guys back in their same spot this next week, which is going to be important. We certainly need to establish. There's signs of the running game coming. It's too far off, and this week is going to be important that we get that going. And then we need to make some plays in the passing game. And I think Josh did some things where he can certainly improve from last week, but then he did a couple things that I thought were outstanding. So finding our way would be a pretty accurate assessment, and we're halfway through. We better find it pretty quick.